Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. We're here today with Boris and his Amber Wizard buddy. We're going to be facing up against the Beastmen, who are already starting to throw rocks at us. How rude. So this is indeed, I'm going to be showing you guys the games that I played Lore Master of Sotek in. We played a best of 5 on Turn's channel. For those of you who haven't seen it, definitely go check out the live stream. But I'm going to be giving you an in-depth analysis on each game, because I know you guys would very much enjoy. They're all super good games, very close, very competitive. So let's jump straight to it. We've got Boris up in the air here. Of course, he's got the Midland Runefang, as well as Crush the Weak, and the White Cloak of Ulrich for the 2 area of effect debuffs. We've also got the Amber Wizard, of course, up in the air. He's carrying Flock of Doom and Whistlin's Wild Form for the 2 cheap spells. Flock of Doom, of course, is going to be great against blobs of high model count units. And Whistlin's Wild Form is a nice either self buff. 30 armor is decent for almost any unit, especially for the Amber Wizard himself, who only has 50 armor. It'll put him up to 80, as well as 25% weapon damage. A nice little cheap buff spell. For an infantry line, we've gone relatively standard with a few variations. 4 spearmen with shields. Rather than swordsmen, I've got 2 free company militia for that nice short-range, non-armor piercing missile fire. We've also got 1 unit of Reichsguard here, another unit of the Zentler's Reichsguard over here, who have managed to Vanguard deploy and catch a unit of Centaurs with great weapons here. You can see them cleaving in, going to be getting some really nice attack animations. And we've also got 4 Pistoliers. You can see 2 groups on each side, both kind of functional groups going to be riding towards the Beastmen, starting to do some initial skirmishing. For Lore Master of Sotek, he's got this Centaur with great weapon, of course, that's going to be taken off the battlefield in short order. His main infantry line is a mix of Goreherds with shields, 2 of those, and 2 Bestigor Herd with a Ungor Spearman Herd in reserve. We've got over here a group of another Ungor Spearman Herd, regular Ungor Herd, and Ungor Raiders with the Bray Shaman Lore of Beasts. Over on this side, we've got another group of Ungor Herd, 2 Harpies, another group of Ungor Raiders, Spears, and a Cygor to round things out. Morgur the Shadowgave is going to be Lord, relatively standard fare there, so let's go ahead and kick the battle into full gear and watch what unfolds. So, first things first, this bit of a skirmish phase going to unfold. You can see the Cygor is stepping up to keep throwing rocks at us. Meanwhile, over on this side, we've been able to clean up that unit of Centaurs with great weapons, and the Pistoliers just kind of trundling around, trolling Sotek a little bit here, trying to get that nice non-armor piercing missile fire. Pistoliers are going to be very good in this particular matchup. Meanwhile, we're trying to get through to the back line to take these Harpies out. I was pretty confident that this Amber Wizard would have been able to take these Harpies, but Harpies are pretty scary in melee. They don't have the best melee attack. 38 melee defense, though, is pretty solid, and 44 weapon strength with 45 unit models is pretty decent. They're essentially like a unit of light cavalry in that respect. You can see the Amber Wizard is going to be taking a few of them down, but he starts to take a ton of damage here. I do pop that Whistlin's Wild Form to try and give him a bit more extra armor and weapon strength, but my opponent here, Lore Master of Sotek, is going to summon up a Manticore with his Bray Shaman Lore of Beasts here, so I'm immediately just going to run away with the Amber Wizard. We've already taken way too much damage. Meanwhile, just doing some nice skirmishing on the hill with these Pistoliers. They're going to be firing downhill with a really nice arc into these Ungor Spearman Herd who don't have any kind of missile block chance or anything. We've got Boris flying back over to support. Meanwhile, in the back line, Sotek's trying to get a little bit cute here with these Harpies, but the Pistoliers and the Royal Orthographites and so on are able to see them off without too much issue. Meanwhile, Boris is going to come in and help this Amber Wizard here in this aerial combat, start taking some of those Harpies out of the air. We're also going to drop a Flock of Doom just to help speed their passing a little bit and get Boris fighting up against the Manticore here. Of course, Boris will be able to just easily dispatch that Manticore. He's got much better combat stats, regeneration, heavy AP, you know, just everything in his favor. His debuffs also help in this respect. Crush the Weak won't apply here because this being a summoned unit has no leadership, or it has max leadership rather, but the -9 melee attack and 6% speed definitely does help. You can see that Manticore down to only 31 melee attack, so very nice. Boris is honestly, those debuffs that he carries are one of the best parts about him, beyond just the regeneration. But at this point, we've done enough skirmishing. I've used up a bit of the ammo on the Pistoliers, so we're going to go ahead and start pushing down the hill towards Lore Master Sotek. Since he still has a fair amount of ammunition on that Cygor, you can see these Pistoliers standing in this pocket here, getting some nice volleys. A little bit sloppy there, getting caught out a little bit by the Ungor Raiders, but we haven't dropped any unit models quite yet. It looks like maybe 1, 2 just dropping now. So pretty rough there, but we've been able to do a lot of damage so far to this unit of Ungor Spearman herd, these Ungor Raiders themselves. A lot of these other units on the far flank here. Also taking some nice early missile fire here, softening them up a little bit before we get the main event underway. You can see the Cygor chucking rocks at the Pistoliers. They do have the mobility to kind of get out of the way a little bit. Another Manticore being summoned up there to help deal with Boris here. So the Harpies and the Manticore are going to come in, but unfortunately the Manticore is going to take a little bit long to get in. Boris is going to fly over there and start taking it to him. And as we've seen before, you know, the debuffs and everything is enough that Boris won't take too much damage from this Feral Manticore, but another Flock of Doom going down here, hitting these Ungor Spearman herd and the Harpies, who are now routed off. We're getting the mainline engagement underway here. You can see all across the line these Empire State troops going to be meeting with the Gore herds, best Gore herds, and so on. We've got the Royal Althargrifites charging in from the side here. Their beautiful blue color scheme. We've also got the Reichsguard coming in for crushing charges out on the flanks. Likewise, dropping in that Amber Wizard for a quick terror route so we can bring the Reichsguard through to the more important targets. This Reichsguard's about to crush this unit of Ungor herd. They definitely can't stand up to I would definitely call the Zintler's Reichsguard at least an elite shock cavalry. The regular Reichsguard, I would probably term them more as a mid-tier shock cavalry, but probably the best mid-tier shock cavalry in the game, to be honest. You can see these Chaos Spawn, though, getting back on the Free Company Militia. Very well played here. They're going to be absolutely tearing these guys to shreds. Meanwhile, we're able to push our Pistoliers through the back line, where Boris is fighting this Cygor here. And basically, I'm just trying to take this Cygor off the field as quickly as possible so it doesn't have time to continue to throw its rocks. I'm hoping that the missile support here, and because being shot in the rear does give an attacked in the rear penalty, so I'm hoping that these Ungor Spearman herd will terror route here due to the 2 Griffins and the missile support and everything. We're also bringing in the Reichsguard for a crushing rear charge. These Free Company also in a really nice position here, shooting into the rear of this line. With the rear charge here, that is going to put a lot of these units low enough to leadership that they'll actually terror out from the Royal Althargrifites, who are also standing in here. You can see this Cygor is definitely putting up a decent fight against Boris, but Boris will be able to win that out, especially with his regeneration and pretty solid combat stats. Honestly, Boris doesn't have the best combat stats for a heroic unit, but he does well enough, especially with that regeneration and so on. Nice Flock of Doom from my opponent as well. Sotek coming down on these Free Company Militia, these Spearmen, and so on. We're getting these Royal Althargrifites switched on to the Chaos Spawn here, just to take them off the field. Meanwhile, Spearmen holding up very admirably, holding up these Bestigor herd for quite a long time. You can see, though, with those 2 Chaos Spawn summons, we're pretty far behind on the balance of power. Looking pretty rough. We've already got 1 unit of Free Company routed off. The other one's routed off as well. Most of these Spearmen are also routing at this point. Only really this 1 health unit with the support of the Reichsguard there. We have been able to route the Cygor, though. Boris is just kind of chilling in the air for the moment, regenerating a little bit, but we're going to bring him down on a nice alpha strike here on these relatively healthy Bestigor. We bring down him, the Griffin, and bring in a rear charge from the Reichsguard, all kind of one after the other. Timed with a Flock of Doom as well to hopefully take all these guys off. Actually, that looks like that was my opponent's Flock of Doom, but it is enough to terrify this Bestigor herd. We do a ton of shock damage, and we're able to terror route it off. So that's going to leave Morgher and his Bray Shaman buddy here completely isolated without any support troops around. You can see that starting to tilt the balance of power more and more back in my favor. These Reichsguard, the Zintler's Reichsguard that were chasing off that Cygor, decided to get a quick charge on these unbraced Ungor Spearman herd. They'll definitely be able to take it to them. Obviously, the Zintler's Reichsguard have way superior combat stats. That's one of the things that makes the Zintler's Reichsguard so good, is that they have really nice melee attack and defense. You can see Boris and the Amber Wizard in here just bullying the Beastman leadership at this point. Morgher and the Bray Shaman are both going to be taking a ton of damage. Morgher just getting chucked all the way across the battlefield by the Amber Wizard here, now moving in for the kill. The Amber Wizard will actually take a lot of damage from Morgher, of course, because the Amber Wizard only has 50 armor on the Griffin here. So you can see he's giving him the crab hand here a little bit. Going to have to be careful. Morgher does regenerate here, and he's got pretty much comparable combat stats, better combat stats all the way around, actually. So I did pop that Wisson's Wild Form, but I don't think it's going to be enough. We're probably going to lose the Amber Wizard here. Thankfully, Boris has dispatched this Bray Shaman Lower Beast relatively easily. Should be taking him down. relatively shortly, or we're just going to ignore him and go straight for Morker here, who did take down the Amber Wizard, unfortunately. But that being said, with Morker starting to lose so much health here, it's really affecting the Beastman's leadership in terms of the balance of power. Sotek was able to clean up my Royal Altar of Griffites here with these Bestigor Herd, but Resentler's Reichsguard keeping that Cygor routed, and of course Boris himself finishing the job here with Morker. So we're going to be able to clean up the Beastman leadership, and that should be all. We've got the Reichsguard on station as well, just kind of chasing off these Harpies, making sure they don't get too much work done here. But at this point, it's mostly just a cleanup phase. And, oh man, looks like they didn't quite fix that bug where Morker whips out Kazrak's whip. I saw him just briefly whip it out there to give Boris a little bit of that action, but that is going to be a victory for the Empire. Very well played to Lore Master Sotek. It was a super fun battle. Hope you guys enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed playing it. Let's go ahead and go over the army breakdown here. For my army, 198 kills each on both units of Reichsguard is excellent. I mean, you can see a really low kill totals across the board for the most part, except for these 2 units of Reichsguard and, of course, the Royal Altar of Griffites themselves, 150 kills. Considering that the Demigryph Knights with Halberds tend to struggle somewhat against large groups of infantry, this is very impressive. The Pistoliers also did some nice work. Boris himself racking up 37 kills, 36 for the Amber Wizard, so really nice all the way across the board. For Lore Master of Sotek, that Cygor, man, 88 kills, 2 XP chevrons. I'm really glad I was able to take it down when I did, because if we had waited much longer, it would have done way too much damage to my army. His best score also did relatively well, 85 kills and an XP chevron, 54 here, 41 on Morker himself is very solid. Of course, we don't see the kills from the Chaos spawn, but they did get a lot of work done, especially against these Free Company militia. So very well played to Lore Master of Sotek. It was a very fun battle. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. I'm keeping it coming with more Total War Warhammer 2 content every single day, so stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.